Well, I'd like to talk a bit about what we've seen over these last couple weeks here that's been taking place in Ukraine, and what things we should really be listening to and be concerned with. And I think the troubling thing for me is that a similar thing took place here over the COVID, and what we've seen out of Fauci and some of the tactics he used, and what we've seen in the media pushing all the COVID realities regarding lockdowns, and you must take the jab. If you don't do that, then you hate Granny. So I'd like to. There's a parallel there, and when it comes to what we've seen in Ukraine, if you're not, we've seen the media swoop in, and as Rush Limbaugh used to say, here comes the drive-by media. And what did Rush mean about that? It was that whenever there's something going on that the media wants to push, they show up and it's on there 24/7, and the broadcast would be pointed in one direction, one narrative. And folks, is that not what we saw out of the media and their supporters regarding COVID? And now now that things are winding down, endemic is approaching. Whoop! Here we go. The drive-by leaves COVID, and now what have we seen? We've been watching Ukraine and the narratives coming out there. And remember now, Ukraine has been in the news for several years now. Ukraine has been in the news tied to President Trump. Ukraine has been in the news tied to Joe Biden. Ukraine has been in the news tied to Hunter Biden. So, when you start looking, when journalists want so-called journalists, journalism would be giving us a picture of, how has Ukraine been playing over the last several years. And we've heard some voices. We've heard some stories coming out of Ukraine as far as the government 7 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, that there were some issues, some problems, and the word corruption has been voiced there. Now, again, we see Russia, we see Putin and what he's doing right now, and the devastation and death that he's wielding. But remember now, we can't look at this in a bubble. I mean, we saw the buildup, and did you hear anything out of Biden? We saw what took place, and the world saw what took place in Afghanistan. So again, out of this president, we've seen a president that has emboldened the bad actors. Now, what should we be doing here? And that's the complication. I want to hear, from all sides should be heard. And that's what I want to talk about right now. If you don't toe the line like we did in COVID, if you don't spew the rhetoric, the consensus, then somehow you're an enemy, like we saw out of Fauci and company that tried to discredit the Patriot doctors that were talking about, alternatives and early treatment, and that the course we were on, locking down healthy people and vaccinating in the middle of a pandemic. They were attacked. Well, what do we have here now? If you say anything about not supporting sending troops, a no-fly zone, and saying, let's take a step back here, and we need to hear all the voices, you're in Putin's camp. And here we go again. We have the narrative. And I want us to take a look here. We have Tucker Carlson. The arrows have been pointed at him. And he's interviewing Tulsi Gabbard to talk about the arrow that was pointed at her from Mitt Romney. Yeah. Mitt Romney, of all people, had something to say in attacking Tulsi Gabbard. So I'd like us to take a listen to a clip there, and I want us to also listen to another contributor a Fox contributor that we heard last week, and she brings a good take on what's taking place when it comes to China and Russia and Ukraine. Laura Ingrams. So here, take a look.